Join us at your own university. Like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. You're not going to want to miss a bit of this.
Hello, and welcome back to Your Own University. Beside me here is Kristin Planinz, and she really works with the body and physical health. She's an acupuncturist, a dear friend of mine, and today we're going to learn about the essentials of traveling and all the essential oils that we need to travel safe. And this is so important today because, well, of COVID and the risks in traveling and all the awareness around illnesses. I don't think it could have come at a better price. And then we all travel a ton in the summertime, or more so. At least we go camping and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see what you have in your pack for that as well. And then welcome everybody that is here live to join us. And I hope that you enjoy your class. Kristin, I'm going to hand over the floor. I am your virtual assistant. So if you need anything, I will be here if there's any issues. If you guys want to type in, just say hello in the chat. I'm going to say hi to everybody so you can see that chat room. Feel free to type in your questions there, and Kristin will be able to get to them. And then this class will be in Kristin's classroom at your own university in the next 48 hours. So if you are a member, you can log in there and see it forever and ever and review. All right, I'm out. Enjoy.
Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to be here. I appreciate Lisha's introduction and her friendship and the opportunity to be here. So I am an acupuncturist. Like she said, I've been doing this for about 20 years. I've been doing essential oils for 6 years. And I love this topic because at the heart of my work, my love first and foremost is herbs. And oils are an extension of that. It's a way for me to play with herbs in a really powerful, potent way that smells good and that I can share with you and help you to get results without needing me. So it's more empowering to you. So I would love to know if anybody live, if you use essential oils, if you've had any experience, and also please ask your questions in the chat and I will get to them, because today's topic is traveling and traveling with essential oils. And essential oils really can make up your natural medicine cabinet, is what I like to call it. And when we're out away from our homes, so we hope it never happens, but sometimes it can happen where we have something unexpected come up and we need a health resource, and we might be in a foreign place. We might be out in the middle of nowhere and not have access to what we need to support ourselves health-wise or our family. And that's the beauty of the essential oils. That's where they come in. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about essential oils, what they are, why I use doTERRA, and how to use them, and how to use them and get results while traveling, and maybe give you some ideas of things you can use them for, or to just so you can be prepared for pretty much probably 80% of the things that could come your way when you're out of the house and away. 80%, I don't want to say 100% because there's always that unknown factor, right? But we can prepare ourselves for most things. And the cool thing is we can carry everything we need in this little teeny tiny space. I'm going to show you this little travel kit. This. So you can fit 10 little oils in here, and it opens up like this. And you can have everything you need. Simple, small, stick it in your purse, and you're good to go. Easy for air travel and easy for any kind of travel. So I'm also going to show you how you could get one of these for free as we get into the class more. Okay, so have you ever heard of traveler's diarrhea? right? We're just going to jump right into it. First and foremost, boom. Now, Alicia talked about immune support. I'm going to talk about that today. What an optimal time for that, because the country is beginning to really open up for more travel with more ease. But traveler's diarrhea is something that has always been around, and it can hit you unawares, and it is brutal. And the last thing we want is to have our travel plans ruined because we are in pain and stuck on a toilet. So the first oil that is fabulous for that is this blend called Digest Zen. Now, I'm not too sure what you know about oils, so I'm going to start at the very beginning. So this is a 15 ml bottle of 100% pure therapeutic grade, certified pure therapeutic grade essential oil. This is a blend. Much like Chinese herbs, we like blends of formulas because they are more complementary to the body, they're more balanced, and they can do more things. So this blend includes several different oils like peppermint, fennel, coriander, ginger, and there's some more that are going to help ease digestion. Now, a little bit goes a long way. So and let me kind of give you an example of how I would use this. And you never want to not have this when you're on the road. I remember one time in high school, we went on a band trip to Canada. And I remember, before I even knew about traveler's diarrhea, we were in Canada. We ate normal food. Canadians eat normal food, right? Like, you don't usually have to worry. And I remember sitting on the little tour bus, like praying that we'd stop in time for me to get to a bathroom. And it would have been good to have this. So how you use this is good for any kind of digestion upset, whether it is diarrhea or constipation or stomach upset or acid reflux. And so how would you use this, right? So all you need is 1 or 2 drops, and you can apply essential oils in several different ways. And the first way we can apply them is topically. So what I would do is I would simply take 1 drop of this oil and I would apply it over the area that is having trouble. So if I have a stomach ache, I'm going to just rub it over my stomach. If I'm having acid reflux and I'm having kind of this burning going up my throat, I could just put a drop and just kind of go down my midline and follow that pain. And if I have, abdominal cramping, then I would want to take a couple drops of this, mix it with some fractionated coconut oil in the palm of my hand to make it spread over the surface area further and rub it on my belly. Now, this is pretty amazing. It works pretty quickly. I could tell you story after story of this working. One time I was with my girlfriends. We were at an oil conference. We were learning, and we all went out to eat. It was right after lunch. They had something, 2 of them had the same thing. I had something different. And 2 of them, like one after the other, they both had to immediately run to the bathroom. But before they on their way to the bathroom, they had applied this on their belly, because we are oil freaks, we're fanatics, and we carry these with us. But you know what? It saved the day. By the time they got to the bathroom, both of them, the problem was gone. It never came. So that's how powerful this is. Now, if you have little kids, you might be wondering, are these safe for kids? So I have 4 kids, a wide age range, and I wish that I had had my oils sooner with the other ones. So I was full-fledged into using these oils by the time my last kid came around, my 4th one. And when he was born, he was just really a little unsettled. And he started at about 2 weeks old, not sleeping so well. And he would wake up kind of gagging himself. And Digest Zen literally to the rescue. I put a little bit of this on the bottom of his feet, a little bit on his tummy, and it completely resolved the problem. So Digest Zen. We're going to move on to the next one because I have about 10 to cover, but this is an essential to go in your travel kit so we can be prepared for any kind of digestive upset. Please, if you have comments or questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat so I can answer directly to you. Okay, so we're talking about all kinds of traveling. You might fly, you might drive, you might camp, you might be on a business trip, and so the situations are going to vary. Let's talk about immune support, hey, right now. We have some good friends who a couple summers ago went to England and Ireland, and they had two kids. They have two kids, and one of them, little girl, got very, very sick. Very high fever, flu-like symptoms. They just weren't, this was before COVID, they just weren't, they were in a foreign country, like, what do we do? And there's a lot you can do. Now, it's, you know, they had to take her to the hospital, which just for precautions, but what do you do in the case of getting a fever, for example? We can have our handy little travel kit full of our 10 oils that can really help that. So the first oil that is really good to combat fever and reduce temperature is actually peppermint. So the way that you would apply this is, I'm just going to show you. So we can inhale. That's another way to take advantage of these oils, by the way, is aromatically. I'm just breathing that in because it's so amazing. And if you have oils and you're joining me here, take your oils out, right? It's so much more fun to have the oils out and be playing with them while we're learning. So peppermint is very aromatic, and we need to be careful that we keep it out of our eyes. All essential oils, actually, we don't want to have them in our eyes. And so a little, and it can happen sooner or later. If you're using your oils, you're going to get one in your eye and it burns. And so a little safety precaution and a little quick remedy, if that were to happen, is you're also going to want to have some fractionated coconut oil with you or some other kind of carrier oil, and to simply, instead of washing your eye out with water, that's the first thought, because oil and water don't mix, they separate. So if you get oil in your eye and it's burning and you wash it with water, what's going to happen is it's going to just drive the oil deeper into your eye, because the oil tries to get away from the water, they don't mix. So the counterintuitive thing to do, but it's highly effective, is instead of putting water in your eye to wash out, you want to drop a little bit of carrier oil. So it could be, like I said, the fractionated coconut oil, it could be olive oil, it could be jojoba oil or grapeseed, any kind of avocado oil. You put a little bit in the corner of your eye, and it literally will, like, I know this by personal experience. One time I put a drop of oil on top of my head, and I had some other oils in my hand that I'm mixing, and I could see this oil coming down, and it went right into my eye, and I didn't have time to stop it because I had all this going on in my hands. And so literally when you put the carrier oil in your eye, it's like it scoops out that essential oil and just expels it out of your eye, and the sensation of discomfort leaves immediately. So there is a little first aid tip, especially if you're traveling and on the go, you want to know that. Okay, so back to having a fever, right? If maybe you get under the weather when you're traveling, or one of your kiddos do. So peppermint is highly effective in reducing fever. Again, these oils are very, very potent. So we only need a little bit. So 1 drop, actually, for example, of peppermint oil is the equivalent of 28 cups of peppermint tea. So what we would do if we had a fever or a child with a fever, I just put 1 drop on my finger. I'm going to put it behind my ears. That 1 drop will go behind both my ears. And I can even put a little bit on the back of my neck if there's anything left. And I'm going to continue to do that every 15 minutes until the fever subsides. So peppermint is a very cooling herb, and that's why it helps to reduce fever. Very effective for that. Okay, let's continue on with what it happens if you get sick while you're traveling, right? You got a fever, maybe you don't have a fever, maybe you do, and you have those body aches or cold or flu-like symptoms. There are a couple oils that are really good. Well, there's actually a lot, but but just to limit it to 10 for traveling, there are some very good oils for immune support that are going to help push out that pathogen out of our bodies and help us recover more quickly. And those are, first and foremost, On Guard. On Guard is a protective blend. This is a blend of wild orange and clove and a lot of other powerful oils that are really strong immune enhancers. On Guard is a special blend. There are other variations from other companies. This one has been scientifically proven and studied in hospitals across the country, and it's actually used in them because of its properties to kill superbugs, things like MRSA. And MRSA, by the way, if you travel on an airplane, okay, I had a client who actually got MRSA that was traced to sitting in the airplane seat. And so she, so it can kind of live on surfaces. So this is a real deal. This is a big deal when we're out and about and traveling. So On Guard has been scientifically shown to kill MRSA, along with other pathogens that we are susceptible to. And so we can use this just as a preventative. And we also can use it if we happen to get sick or we're starting to get sick. So the key and you use it differently depending on what's going on. And I also want to show you this handy dandy On Guard hand sanitizer, because this is super easy. It fits in your purse. So let me just show you size comparison for these travel things. Here's a travel kit. Here is the sanitizing spray. And let me show you the size of my cell phone. My cell phone's a little bit bigger than your average phone, but see, these are really tiny, easily fit on an airplane, pass through customs, no problem, and easily fit into your purse. And so you can literally take your On Guard sanitizing spray and you could mist the armrests in the airplane if you're traveling, and you could obviously put this on your hands, and it smells lovely and it's moisturizing. So this is the other piece that I love about this, because I have really sensitive skin and I'm prone to eczema. I can't use perfumed lotions. I have to use everything sensitive skin, hypoallergenic, and etc. And I can't use hand sanitizer because the alcohol content will just shred my hands. I have to wear gloves when I wash dishes. Very sensitive. So this passes the test for my sensitive hands. It's actually soothing and moisturizing. And so it's great. Also, if you have sensitive skin, it's going to be safe to use and very effective at keeping you well, keeping those pathogens away. So I mentioned there is a couple different ways to use On Guard while you're traveling. And it depends on if you're using it for prevention or if you are beginning to get sick or if you're full blown out sick. Okay. So as a preventative, I would just take 1 drop of this and put it on the bottoms of my feet every day or every other day. But if we're traveling, we're going into a new environment, new bugs. If you're traveling by air, you're going to run into a lot of people at the airport. And so I would say just a drop every single day and starting a couple days before you leave. So we say put it on the bottoms of your feet, because undiluted, I have to smell this, so good. Undiluted, this can be a little irritating to sensitive skin. So if you have sensitive skin, that's why I recommend put on the bottoms of your feet, because you're less likely to be sensitive and have a little irritation. If you were sensitive, then you would have a little skin irritation. If you are getting sick, or if, like my friend's child, she had a full-blown out fever, high fever, then you would put this on the bottoms of your feet or your child's feet every hour until symptoms subside. So it can be a little labor intensive, but it's highly effective in shortening the duration of your sickness. And when you're out and about, that is crucial. That's key, right? So there's another oil that we can combine On Guard with to support ourselves if we happen to get sick while traveling, and that is tea tree. So tea tree, actually I should say On Guard is really good at killing viruses and bacteria. It also kills airborne pathogens, which is why it is highly effective to just simply breathe it in. And that's another way. I mentioned there are 3 different ways to use our oils. That's another way that's powerful to use essential oils, is just aromatically. You can inhale it like you just saw me do, or you can have a diffuser and have it going in the air in the background. And so you can get little tiny travel diffusers. You could set it up in a hotel room if that's your or a Airbnb, and you can have this running, and it actually clears the air and cleans it and kills anything that might be harmful to you. So it's another way to get that support from these oils. Now, if you're getting something, you're catching a cold or the flu, we want to add in tea tree, because tea tree specializes in killing bacteria. It's also antifungal, and it just adds an extra boost to the On Guard. And so what you would do is like a layering technique. I mentioned that we're going to put On Guard on your feet, probably 1 drop every hour to 2 hours. And I'll get to your question in a minute, Lisha. And then you're going to layer it, meaning that you're going to take the tea tree and just put it right over that on your feet, and it's going to give you that extra boost. So Lisha's asking, does tea tree from doTERRA have gluten in it? No, not that I know of. This is doTERRA oils are unadulterated. They're pure. They, a lot of companies, because of the labeling, there's a lot of leniency in labels, so anyone can slap a label on an oil and say it's organic, it's been tested, and it's 100% pure. The real test, though, is in trying it out and seeing, and the difference is in whether or not you get results. So no, there's no gluten in tea tree, because we're expelling the oil out of the plant, and it's the oil that has the really potent healing properties that make the plant work as an immune supporter. And I hope that answers your question. If you have more questions around that, then ask me more. So tea tree is also really handy to have while traveling for a couple other reasons. So it's really good for wound care. So let's say you're out camping and you slip and you scrape your knee. This is going to be really soothing to put on an abrasion, and it's going to clean it out as well. This is also really good for any kind of skin irritation. So, itchy skin, insect bites, it's going to soothe the irritation. So tea tree is really handy to have around for that. Okay, so back to immune support. There's one more oil in this bunch of our top 10 that we're talking about for traveling that would be really amazing for immune support, and that is frankincense. Frankincense is the king of all oils. And that's because it is so versatile. It helps with pretty much every body system, and it is naturally an immune booster. It's a natural anti-ager. It naturally is calming to the emotions, and it enhances the effect of every other oil that you combine it with. So one of the reasons why we call it the king of all oils is because if you could only have one oil, or let's say you don't know what oil to use in any given situation, when in doubt, pull your frankincense out and it will help. It also is great for wound care. It's great for healing skin. It's great for killing bacteria and bugs. And it's very, very good. So you could also layer that on top of the On Guard and the tea tree for an additional immune boost. Okay. If you have any questions about, okay, what about this circumstance? If I'm traveling, what could I use if this thing or circumstance happened? Please put your question in and I'll answer it, because I might look over it. You know, there's so many things that can happen while we're traveling. Okay, let's talk now about stress management. Oh, great question about nausea. Okay, so nausea is going to be digestion right here. All things digestive, nausea, digestion for nausea, and then you would just put it over your belly. Another good one that could also work for nausea would be peppermint. Peppermint is in digestion, but sometimes I just like to use the single oil, or I might have one and not the other. So those two options would be really good to try for nausea. And here's another thing, the third way. Let's talk about the third way that we can use our essential oils. So we talked about first topically, second aromatically, the third way is internally. I'm going to say internal only for doTERRA oils. I cannot speak for other companies or brands because doTERRA, they test each oil 52 times before they put it in a little bottle and send it out. And on the back, the label here is a food label. And so that tells us that it's safe for internal consumption. There's been a lot of debate, and it's not true. Not all oils are safe for internal consumption. In fact, I would say most are not when you're talking about companies and brands. And the reason being is because as a whole, there's a lot of adulteration in the oil industry. And by adulteration, that means we are looking to get the therapeutic benefit of an oil, which means that we actually get the results we're seeking. Like it makes your nausea go away. It takes away your headache. It brings down your fever. It calms your emotions, whatever effect you are wanting. When we have the chemical compound, the therapeutic chemical compound that we're looking for from the medicinal properties of the oils, we can look at this specific pattern that we're looking for chemically under a microscope. And when we have that, we can predict that it's going to work. And how do you get that? Right? How do you get that? Well, it comes from multiple factors. So the oil has to be grown, the plant has to be grown in the right climate, where it's indigenous, where it's known to have the best healing effects. It has to be grown in the right soil. It has to be harvested correctly. It has to grow long enough and then harvested correctly. We want to make sure that it's grown organically and it's processed correctly. There's all these factors. And so that hence the extensive testing. And when we can get that chemical compound, that makeup exactly right, then we can predict an outcome, which is exactly why scientists and hospitals are now beginning to integrate doTERRA oils into their facilities, like Johns Hopkins University, and there's another, oh my goodness, there's another one in Kentucky that's come out. There's a whole cancer, I can't remember the name of it, darn it, but they're doing a whole cancer research division of their hospital partnering with doTERRA, because the oils are we have the chemical components that we need that can predict an outcome, and that only comes from testing extensively after the plants are grown correctly. And does that make sense? And I'm spending a little bit of time on this because that's the key to getting results. And so what has happened in the oil industry forever is what we call adulteration. And adulteration is basically cutting the oil with other components to make it less expensive, to make a profit, right? You have less of the real thing, so it's more profitable for companies. And this has gone on for centuries, like since Bible times and the frankincense trades, right? So this isn't a new thing. It's just kind of always been a thing where people try to make a buck. And another way that it can happen, adulteration can happen, is when you are looking at, okay, we know we need a specific chemical compound, right? We're looking for that picture perfect cellular makeup to get the healing properties. And let's say that we have 85% of it there. So it's mostly complete, but it's not all the way. Then what companies will do is they will make the 15% in a lab and add it in. And what you've just done is you've taken something synthetic and added it in, and you've just adulterated your oil. And depending on the person and their sensitivities and the oil, the worst thing about that is it might not do anything. I mean, the best thing is that it might not do anything. And the worst thing is that it might affect you negatively, depending on your sensitivities and your body makeup. So that's why I use these oils, because I know I can trust them. And clinically, I've seen over the last 5 years, just better results. So all that into my explanation of why these are safe to take internally. You should be able to take lemon oil internally. Lemon comes from a fruit, for example. But if you go and you buy lemon in some chain stores, you might see on the label, don't take internally. So there's a clue for you. Oh, this isn't a pure oil. If I can't take lemon into my body, that natural substance, beautiful fruit, there's something wrong with this product. Okay, so we look on the label of the bottles to make sure that they've got food grade labels, which means it's safe for internal consumption. And that's why I say when I recommend to take it internally, only doTERRA. Okay, so back to the nausea question. Another way that you could take digestin is you could take it under your tongue sublingually. That's a really effective way to get it into the rest of your body through those veins you have under your tongue. Or you could put a drop in your water and drink it. And that's true for any of the oils that we have talked about so far, except for tea tree. So you will notice that tea tree, if you were to look at the label on the back of it, it does not have a food label. And that's how you would know, okay, this one isn't safe for internal consumption. And there are a few oils that fit that category, but you never need to wonder, or you never need to really remember. All you have to do is look at the label on the bottle. Is there a food label or is there not? And a food label is going to say supplemental facts, it's going to say serving size, etc. Okay, where do we want to go next? Respiratory distress, right? Cough, cold, I can't say allergies. Let's say seasonal issues, all right? So there are a few oils that really work really well for this. And one is a blend called Breathe. So Breathe contains peppermint, it contains eucalyptus, it contains Ravinsara and a few other oils that really help open up the chest. And I'm going to show you a cool trick here with Breathe and with another really famous trio that helps whenever we have any kind of respiratory distress, whether it's down in the chest or up in the face. Okay, so Breathe also, and it's so aromatic, it just opens up everything. But because Breathe has eucalyptus in it, eucalyptus, just the plant itself, is not good for internal consumption. So you're going to look at the label and you're not going to see a food label, and we're going to know, okay, we can't take this one internally. But there's a really powerful trio that is fantastic for seasonal issues, and that is lemon, lavender, and peppermint, these three. And these three are so powerful, I mean, in that they do a broad set of things for us, not just seasonal allergies or respiratory distress. So we've already talked about peppermint for taking a fever down. Peppermint is also good for headaches. You would just put a cup, if you have like a temporal headache, you would just put a drop into your temples, and it will help ease that. So we're going to talk about lavender and lemon too, what they do. But the three of these together work incredible for any kind of respiratory distress. And you can also do this with Breathe, but I'm going to show you a handy little trick. It's so powerful, it smells so good, and I love this. And this is a really powerful trio to diffuse in your room too. So what I'm going to do is, here's my hand. I'm just going to take 1 drop of lavender and 1 drop of peppermint. Oops, I got a couple drops there, and a drop of lemon. Okay, I'm just going to rub these in my hands together. Okay, and if I am struggling with sinus congestion or any kind of eye irritation from seasonal effects, I'm just going to cup my hands and breathe that in. And I'm closing my eyes because peppermint is very aromatic and I don't want it to get into my eyes. And I just do that, and it's really powerful. Now, what if you have postnasal drip, or you have this little chest tightness or congestion? I still have it all over my hands, so you can literally make your own little inhaler. So I have a flat palm, I'm making a fist, I'm rooting it here, I'm going to have my little hole here in the top, and I'm literally going to put my mouth over this hole, and I'm going to suck it in. I'm going to inhale just like this. Yeah, so it's really strong. And what I've done is I've gotten it to come down here into my throat. So if you've got an itchy throat, if you have a irritated throat, and I'm going to breathe it in again, and I'm going to be able to get it down even deeper. Right now, I feel it right about to here. So that's pretty deep. I'm going to do it one more time. So it'll make you cough for a minute, but it's wonderful. And the same thing, cupping it again. Okay, and what if you have a child with respiratory distress, or what if you have an asthmatic child? So my friend, my mentor actually, who introduced me to these oils, she lived in Japan for a time, and she was meeting some friends, and they had a little 2-year-old child, and started having major respiratory distress, and they didn't have his inhaler with them. That can cause a really panicky moment, right? It's the last situation we want to be in when we're traveling, especially, and we're not in a familiar area. And so what she did, my friend, mentor Teresa, she happened to have what on her? Not lemon, lavender, and peppermint, but that would be good. That would be enough. She had Breathe. And so what she did is she just pulled it out of her purse and put it up to the child's nose and put a couple drops on the child's feet while one of the parents was rushing home to get the inhaler. And by the time they got back, child was fine. Okay, Breathe. And it's easy to know what this does by the name, right? So those are some really good options for respiratory support. Okay. All right, so really good tricks. What are those oils again? Great question. Love the questions. So lemon, lavender, and peppermint. So why do these work? Well, lavender is antihistamine, so it's going to help with the allergy response. Peppermint is a vasodilator, so it helps open up the airways. And lemon is, I never say this word right, antimucolytic. So it gets rid of phlegm or congestion. It helps clear that out. So the 3 of these together are amazing, and they smell beautiful. Okay. Yeah, lavender is so versatile, and we're going to talk about some more of the uses of lavender. But yeah, who knew that lavender was great as an antihistamine? So have you ever, okay, I bet you can relate to this. So before COVID, a couple years ago, I had taken my daughter into the doctor for a well checkup. And have you ever been sitting in a doctor's office and you get something in your throat and you just have to start hacking like fiercely? And I'm like, oh my gosh, so that happened to me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm here in the doctor's office. Everyone's going to think that like I have something horrible and I'm contaminating everyone. And I was looking in my purse because sometimes like water wasn't getting it. Yes, you can choke on your spit. I know, right? It doesn't take much. But in this instant, my throat just suddenly got an intense itch. And I was just really bad. And the only thing I had in my purse was lavender. So I actually put a drop of lavender in a little cup of water that was available in the office, and I drank it, and it just immediately soothed my throat. I had to do it 2 or 3 more times because it was very severe. And of course, the timing was perfect, right in the middle of a waiting room in an office. But I was able to have what I needed in a time of need. Okay, powerful, powerful stuff. Okay, so any other questions about oils for respiratory support and how you might use those before we move on? Okay, let's talk about lavender, right? So we're traveling, we're in a new place, and sometimes it can be harder to sleep. Not your bed, not your pillow, not familiar surroundings. Maybe it's your pillow, depends on where you're going and how you're traveling, right? Lavender is very, very good to help encourage restful sleep. It's very calming naturally. And what we can do is we can put a couple drops on our wrists. Like I'll show you, I'm just gonna put like that. We can rub it together. I love to put oils. I don't necessarily have trouble sleeping, but I want to do everything I can to enhance my sleep, to maximize my sleep so I get the highest quality possible within the amount of time that I'm resting. So I love to put the oils topically right on my wrist so that when I'm sleeping, I can smell it right there. Okay, you could also put them behind your ears. You could also put them on your feet. You could also put a little drop on your pillow, and that's going to help enhance your sleep. And just pardon me, I need a little drop of water here. Okay, okay. Lavender is also fabulous for skin irritations, and it's great for sunburns. So I love to be outdoors. I'm always hiking with my family. I'm not too keen on sunscreen. Now, I'm not going to go as far to say that this will replace sunscreen. There are essential oil sunscreens you can buy or make that help act as a sunscreen. But you know, I only use sunscreen if this is a personal preference, if I know I'm going to be out in the sun for a long time. I just don't like how it feels on my face. If I sweat, it gets in my eyes burn, don't like it. So sometimes after a hike, I'll be a little red, I'll be slightly burned. And I always put lavender on my skin, on my face, when I'm done, get out of the shower, stick it on, and it heals sunburns actually. So lavender is great for sunburns. How do I do that? So I actually have doTERRA's neutral, non-scented hand lotion, and I just put a drop of lavender in the palm of my hand. Then I'll put a little, probably dime size or nickel size amount of lotion in my hand, and I mix it together, and then I apply to my face. You could do this with your own skincare lotion that you already use or your skincare system. You can certainly add these oils in to get that extra benefit. Another thing you could do, if you have a broad area where you do get burned, unintentionally of course, you could mix lavender and tea tree. Remember, tea tree is very soothing to the skin, and frankincense. Frankincense is also very healing and soothing to the skin. You could take any one or the 3 of those, mix it in a little bit of coconut oil and rub it over the surface area. Let's say you burned your arms, for example, or you could put all those on your face, and it's going to heal and soothe. So another great thing to have, another resource to have on the go while you're traveling. Okay. We are coming to a close, and we have one oil left and one other thing I want to share with you. But let's talk a little bit more about lemon oil, because remember, this was the trio for seasonal support, respiratory support. It was lemon, lavender, and peppermint. So true story, I was out, where were we? we go out almost every weekend to explore here in the Idaho area, Boise, where we live, because there's so much beauty in the mountains and all around us. And oh, it was a couple weeks ago for my youngest birthday, we went out into the forest in a campground. And when I came home, I was so annoyed because I had the biggest wad of gum stuck on the bottom of my shoe. And it was so huge. I was like, that had to have been intentional. I don't even know who chews a wad of gum as big as what was stuck on the bottom of my shoe. And I scraped it off with a stick as best I could, and it was still a mess. And I was like, Kyle and my husband, I'm like, how am I going to clean this off? Like, it was so sticky and so just a mess. And then I remembered, lemon oil. So, you might have noticed that a lot of cleaners on the market are lemon scented. And that's because lemon is a natural cleanser, not just of external things, but also internal. So you can use this as a gentle detoxifier for yourself, putting a couple drops in your water and just drinking it, kind of flavors your water nicely, helps to aid in cleansing us internally, but it's also great as an external cleanser. And so what I did is I literally, because it'll break down whatever it is. That's why we use it in like dish soap. It breaks down the dirt and the grime. Same with the gum that I couldn't get off of my shoe. I literally just dumped some of this straight on the bottom of my shoe because it was just such a mess, and let it sit there for 30 seconds. And then I took my dish rag scrubber and I scrubbed it, and it all came off. So you never know, right? Like, you never know what can happen when you're out traveling. And so lemon is great for that. Lemon is also a really good mood enhancer and uplifter. So the last part of this session, as we wind up about oils for traveling, is let's just talk about stress, right? But before we get into that, actually, there's one other thing while I'm still on the camping topic, and then we'll move into lemon and a couple other oils for stress management. So if you are outdoorsy and traveling to you means being in the outdoors, and maybe you don't like to put things on your skin that aren't natural, that's a thing for me, but we want to still be protected. It's like the On Guard hand sanitizer. I had an example earlier for immune support. Well, out in the wilderness, mosquitoes, right? Spring, summer, we have another travel insect repellent spray. And this is all natural, made of pure essential oils, really good for the skin, not going to cause irritation, doesn't smell that bad, and really effective. So this is another thing that I like to carry with me when we are out doing our family travels and recreation. Okay, now let's move. I don't see any other questions. Again, as we're wrapping this up, if you have more questions, type them in so I can get to them. So traveling can be stressful, even when we're traveling to recreate and have fun, right? And so there are several oils, a couple we've already talked about, that can really help reduce and minimize stress. Lavender is one of them. It's very calming. Frankincense is another one. It's very calming and relaxing. And none of these oils are drowsy. All right. So you don't need to worry like, oh, if I put that oil on, am I going to fall asleep at the wheel? No. But if you are already tired, then these calming oils can help you sleep more deeply and rest more. And so so they're good if you have heightened stress like anxiety or irritability. And they're also very calming. So you want to use them, gauge that accordingly if you are driving. And speaking of driving, we drive a lot. And when we go out in our travels, and sometimes, you just get on autopilot on the road, and with the autopilot, it's like your eyes want to close, you want to nod off, right? And what do? Like, I really try not to drink soda. I don't really want that form of caffeine and sugar in my body, but sometimes that's like my go-to, or it has been in the past, because I don't know what else to do to stay awake, right? Or maybe you're in the middle of nowhere driving and there's not, there's no place to pull over and get coffee, okay? It's something to help you stay awake. So in your little travel kit, guess what? You have a resource for that. It's your peppermint. And I have used this little trick, and what I will do, because peppermint is tingly, so I will put it behind my ears and I'll rub it all on the insides of my ears. And then I'll also put a drop under my tongue, because it's so like pops, like, whoa, right? It's super aromatic and it's a little tingly on the ears. And I'll put it over as many senses as I can cover. So my taste, my touch, smelling it, and that'll really help to wake me up while I'm driving. So there's another little trick there as we're traveling. So peppermint can also be good to diffuse stress, and so can lemon. Lemon is very uplifting. All citrus oils are very uplifting, and they can help too. The last one we haven't talked about is a special blend that doTERRA offers called Adaptive. And Adaptive, the name comes, it's called the calming blend, but the name comes from, because it helps support us in adapting to stressors around us. So if you're prone to anxiety or even depression, or when we're traveling, we're in a new environment. I have 4 kids and I refuse to fly with my family. I just won't go there. It's just way too much stress for me. But if you're in a situation, where you have to, or just acknowledging the fact that even when we travel for leisure and pleasure, there's still an added stress element to it. It's always good to have support for that and enter in Adaptive. Okay, very calming. And you can use that. A favorite place that I haven't mentioned yet to put essential oils is on the back of your neck, right here, right kind of under your occipital protuberance, down in there. Okay, so it goes right into like the brainstem and right into your brain and your senses and your emotions. And then also I like to smell this one, because when we smell an oil aromatically, it goes into the limbic system via the olfactory nerve that's right there in this area, deep up in our nose. So we inhale it, and then the limbic system is our emotional center. And when we're stressed, right, we have heightened emotions, no matter what form they come in. And so just inhaling the oil will help center and calm you down. And it'll help you adapt better to stress. So, going to an airport to me is a little stressful. I don't like all the people. I don't like the lines. I don't like the security check-ins. I don't like taking my shoes off. Adaptive can help you deal with those things you got to deal with to get to where you're going. So are there any questions at this point? Okay, so I'm going to show you again this little travel kit that I use to take all my oils in. It's this beautiful little thing. It's like a keychain, literally. You could just put it on with your keys or attach it to your purse. And we have these little tiny sample bottles like this. This one has tea tree in it. And here's another one with Digest Zen. And so what you do is you take your big oil and you transfer some of it into this, and then you have what you need for on the go. I have a couple other little sample or travel cases I like to use. Here's a nice little pretty one. Again, let's compare this to the size of my cell phone so you can kind of get a perspective. Okay, and another form that I like to take my oils in are in the roller bottles. So these are 10 ml roller bottles, and this is a lavender. And the beauty about the roller bottle is that it's already diluted with coconut oil. It comes with a roller, so it's really easy to apply. You just roll it on. Super easy to use while you're out and about and driving, super easy to use on your kiddos. And so I also typically will take something like this, as well as this, as well as these, because they're super light and pretty easy, small space to just take in your purse or your carry-on. Okay, so I'm going to now invite you, like you're here, you're listening, you're learning. I'm going to invite you to get your oils, right? If you don't have them yet, or if you do, then there's an opportunity for you. Actually, remember at the very beginning, I said you could get one of these for free. So you can get your oils several different ways. Lisha is part of my oil team, and that means she's got a wholesale account as well as me. And if you want to purchase the oils wholesale, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'm going to put up a slide here in a minute. But if you look at some of these oils and they speak to you, you're like, oh yeah, I want that oil, or I need this one, and this little kit is really handy. Then when you purchase your oils wholesale and join our team, then I'm going to give you one of these. And I'm going to give you 10 little empty bottles for you to put your own oils in. And let's say you already have oils, right? You're like, okay, this is cool, and I got what I needed, but you like this, right? So if you will host a class for me, which is super easy to do, I do all the work, you just bring the people and we do it online, then I will also give you one of these. So I'm just going to pull up, I'm going to share my screen here, see if I can do this. I'm going to show you how to connect with me. Just give me a second. We need right here. Okay, so here's my website, KristinPlaninz.com, or you can call my cell right here. And yeah, I'm happy to do a consultation with you to help you figure out what you need, to find something in your price range, and to get you your beautiful little starter kit, travel carrier kit, case, and bottles to go in it. So that's what I've got, Lisha. As I have this slide up, I now can't see the chat. So if you could tell me if anyone's got any questions. That's really about all that I have today. And I thank you so much for joining us. And I look forward to answering any questions or connecting with you should you feel so inclined. Okay.
All right. So I just unmuted everybody. If you guys want to unmute, you can. Oops, no. I think I did it right. Kristin, thank you so much. That was friggin' amazing. I had never done the breathing before. And yeah, that's super neat. And I don't know if I have any lemon. I'm gonna go and get some lemon. So this will get them to you.
Yeah.
Definitely connect with Kristin. And perfect. Yeah. Any questions? I'm not seeing every. Belinda said thank you. Lots of good info. Even if for now I won't be able to get any doTERRA blends for this moment. And it said thanks for the info and a couple cool tips. So hopefully they'll get in touch with you. We're going to put this in your classroom. And,
you're so welcome. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, cool. With apologies, I am packing to leave for the UK tomorrow and return to South Africa. Sweet, Belinda. Wonderful. I bet you can get doTERRA in South Africa. They're all over the world.
Yeah.
All right. So that sounds like a lot of travel. It'll be a good time. All right. Anything else? I think that's it. All right,
Okay.
Kristin, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Take care, everyone.
figure out how to get out. I don't know how.